welcome to Empowering Us. My name is Kandise Lucas.
I am Lorraine Wright, and our special guest tonight is
Gordon Miller.
And we're happy to have Gordon here tonight because, as you know, throughout our entire season, and tonight is our last night for our rotation, so we won't be back until the next rotation to share information with you. But tonight we're here to talk about the launching and the engagement that we're trying to promote regarding our IEPplan.com website, which is going to be an awesome service that's going to provide an outlet and an ability for parents to be advocates, effective advocates on behalf of their children. And we're excited because, once again, Gordon Miller is here. And Gordon, you want to introduce yourself? First, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Gordon Miller, and I have been working in education and technology for much of the last 30 years. I started out working in higher education, working in educational training, and then I started my own company about 23 years ago, and we've developed over 200 different projects, and we currently run healthcare and education and other information systems all across Virginia as well as around the world.
And you know, this has been, I can definitely say, because I know Gordon, this has been a natural progression as far as transitioning into IEPplan.com. We met some time ago around the issue of special education and the needs of our children and families. And basically, IEPplan.com is an answer to those challenges that our families face.
Oh, that's right. We started doing the support for the TTAC program here in Virginia back around 2007.
Explain to the listening audience what the TTAC program is.
The TTAC, the Training and Technical Assistance Center throughout Virginia, coordinates all special needs services for kids birth through age 22 in seven different districts around the state. And so we built a system that brings all the data together, manages the information and the data in a coherent way that the state can then evaluate that services are being rendered properly. During the process of that, we had both employees within the company have children that had specific needs, and I myself, our third son, was born in 2006, and we didn't find out until about 2007, 2008, after we had started the TTAC program, that he was born with a hearing loss, and it was corrected via surgery, but by the time we found it, when he was 2.5, almost 3, he had a significant speech problem, and so we had to go ahead and take advantage of the services that TTAC offered and go through speech therapy. And he was ready by kindergarten, and now he's ahead of everybody else and doing well. But it's these programs that if we had not had access to it, and if we didn't know they existed, and we didn't know how to make sure that our kids were getting the services that they needed, then we wouldn't have had nearly the success for our youngest son as we have.
And you know, and the key, and this is such an awesome program because awesome website, because our parents, we know that we may not know where to go to get the information that we require. And there are advocates out there like myself, like Lorraine, who may not be able to deal with 100 families at a time. However, through our website, IEPplan.com, the program is actually putting the power of determining the education services and getting your IEP team, like we've discussed over the last few weeks, together on your own. So you have the opportunity to really shape and mold the support system that you will need in order to shape and mold the educational services for your child. You want to explain how it's going to work? Yeah,
so, and one of the things that's so important about that most people don't realize is that just like you'd never be guilty of a speeding ticket and not go to court without an attorney, you definitely do not want to go into a meeting with your school where they have school administration and specialists and your kids' teachers and special needs kids and doctors and everybody else who are going to make decisions for your family and your children. If you aren't aware of your rights, there are 7 different protected classes of people, and the schools generally only recognize 4. Ironically, the 4 they recognize are all on their side of the table, not on the parents. And so parents are allowed their own specialists, their own doctors, their own advocates, and then the parents are a key part of that.
Yes.
And most of the schools have been remiss in not engaging the parents. They say, here is what your child is going to do, and here is what you have to deal with, and then that's it. But that's not it. I mean, it's never been it. And now that there are federally protected rights for parents, this is a great opportunity to be a part of a community online that can help you continue to manage and engage with both your team as well as your school, and manage that information over a long period of time. So as you log in and become a member and begin uploading this year's plan, as the plan goes forward the following year and years after that, you can continue to keep and manage that information online and track how your son or daughter is doing. And then if you move from state to state, whether it's through military relocation or job change or other things like that, then you still have access to all the information online, and the schools in the other states can have benefit of being part of your team as well, and gain access to the information and begin reviewing it as well.
Right. And Gordon, I was just going to say, family, we've been talking all season, including last season, about family engagement and what that looks like, and the fact that parents and caregivers and providers should be driving what family engagement looks like for them. And think about this. We're living in an information technology age where business all across the nation, globally, is done very, very differently, right? There are not as many face-to-face meetings, right? There are not as many, walk up, shake someone's hand. Lots of things are happening virtually over a social media platform, over the web, in some way, shape, or form. So why shouldn't we have the opportunity to engage our service providers, our specialists, folks who know about the needs of our children? Why can't we engage them virtually, have a really, really great tracking system, right? So we can keep all the information centralized in one location and be able to access that. So again, this is really a power shift. This is a paradigm shift. We are now changing the narrative of how special education is managed by us as community members, as parents. And just like Gordon, I have my own story to tell that you guys have probably heard once or twice. But my son is labeled ADHD, and in first and third grade, Henrico County Public Schools tried to retain him. In first grade, I don't even get it. I don't know what type of rocket science is you have to be in the first grade to have a conversation about retention, but that's neither here nor there. So when I advocated for him, of course, and then I asked the school, again, placing some accountability on them, help me understand why we're having this conversation just a few weeks before the end of school when I'm in the classroom several times each and every week. So my engagement was there. You saw me several times a week. I was I was the president of the PTA. So I'm having trouble with this, right? So in third grade, we had a similar conversation. Now keep in mind, my son, he's always been this, he's on the what you call a T-ball field. Yeah, he's on the T-ball field looking at birds while the ball is coming directly to him. So I understand his focus was off. He needed some redirection at times. I get it. So he wasn't actually diagnosed with ADHD, however, until he was in the 5th grade. And we had taken multiple tests, and they was just like, yeah, well, he's average. And I think for him, it was a lot about motivation, and it was boring. It wasn't engaging to him. It wasn't relevant. He didn't really see, how this was exciting. So in 5th grade, we actually got him diagnosed, and he indeed had ADD. Not so much the hyperactivity, but very, very small dosage of medication allowed him not only to get back on track academically, but what it did for his confidence, what it did for his self-esteem. He, in the 6th grade, now again, this is 5th grade, but he transitioned to the 6th grade. Now that's a really challenging time for any kid, right? They're going into middle school, trying to find themselves, their identity, and all sorts of things. And in the 6th grade, he received the Presidential Academic Achievement Award and the highest grade point average for English in the entire 6th grade, and all sorts of other awards. But again, this was a kid that, had I accepted in the 1st and the 3rd grade that no, he wasn't up to par, he couldn't learn, he wouldn't be here. He's still AB honor roll, he's a rising 8th grader. So again, the importance not only of knowing what your rights and remedies are, but also knowing who to access and what information to access. And that's what IEP plan does for us. It compiles it all in one place. It makes it easy to get to and access.
Well, and that's right. And in fact, you bring up an important point because my oldest was diagnosed with ADD and ADHD early on. And so we went through additional evaluative processes. And we were the ones that decided not to do medication. But the school threatened to expel him if he didn't end up getting medicated. And we didn't stand for that. We said, look, this is our decision, and Now my son has straight A's and he's in high school and he's doing great. And you know, the doctor that we followed up with, we picked our own doctor, and he did the evaluation and said they're crazy. So there's nothing wrong with your son. You know, he'll grow out of it in about 2-3 years, and he did. But you know, this evaluation in 3rd grade, where they begin to determine what the future of your son or daughter is going to be, and they tell you what it should be instead of actually having you participate in the process and in the conversation. And that's actually why we actually have 2 websites in one. It's not just IEPplan.com, but for all the kids who are going through the ADD and ADHD process, there's also 504plan.com.
And also 504plan.com is also for our children who need health plans like diabetes, children who have seizures, children who have even asthma. Because a lot of issues, and peanut allergies, we have a big issue with allergies. So these 504 plans are a right for our families. So when a school tells you you don't need a 504 plan, you need to sign up with us. You really need to you actually need to sign up with us in advance. We presented at Fort Lee, and we had a mother there who was being very proactive. Her child had Down syndrome, and she wanted to be equipped to be able to support him as he went through life. So even if you do not have a child that's in school, a child that's in preschool, maybe your child has just been born and you've been advised that they have special needs, sign up with us. Developing that network, creating that base where you're confident so you're able to advocate for your child is priceless.
Yeah, and a good thing to keep in mind is that right now, before we launch the site sometime later this summer, it's all free to pre-register. So it doesn't cost you anything to register, and there's a free download that you get.
There is a free download that you get.
The book here, if you go to IEPplan.com and pre-register, you'll get an email link for this booklet, which has a lot of valuable information.
Yes.
Parent's Guide to Special Education.
Yeah, you get the electronic copy, and again, you can do word searches for terms that are relevant to your situation. So this is just a great document to have, and again,
and it's easy reading. It's
is.
a parent-friendly language, and when you get your download, the first thing I encourage all our parents to do is to go through the definitions, the glossary. Before you even read the book, when I'm training our parents on the guide, the first thing I need you to do, and that the school district probably doesn't want you to do, is know their language. Know the language of special education. It's just like with any other discipline. You want to make sure that you know the language. So go through the glossary repeatedly. Go through the definitions repeatedly so that when things are being said to you, you know what's being said. Not only that, carry that with you every time you go to a meeting. We're working to make sure that schools are required to give a parent one of these guides at every annual IEP meeting, because that's part of parental education, which is also a federal right.
And so we also have lots of federal protections that we're going to talk about and make sure we have resources and links for on the site from the Every Student Succeeds Act, which was formerly, No Child Left Behind, and then ESEA, Elementary and Secondary Education Act. But there are so many federal protections,
yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, family, that you need to know about. And when you don't know what you don't know, put yourself in a position, in a place, and surround yourself with people who do. A couple of years ago, again, starting this special education process, I was not as informed as I am today. Okay? Everybody has to have a starting point, but guess what? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So the first step should be register right now, pre-register.
While we're on the air, register and like us on Facebook, like IEPplan.com on Facebook. Make sure you're part of our community, and it's an advocacy community. Our goal is to create an army of advocates, not only to help your child, but to help the children in your community, because there are children out there that do not have parents to advocate on their behalf. So we need our communities to step up. And I'm just going to touch a little bit on the dynamics of an IEP meeting, because I need you to understand the dynamics of an IEP meeting if you